Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Whiskey Wednesday Show with your hosts Ken Tizzard and Music for Goats. Brought to you in full color and stereo sound with amplification provided by Trainer. Broadcasting into the world from Storyhouse Studios in Campbellford, Ontario, you'll hear the best of old country, folk, Americana, punk rock, and 80s music delivered into your homes every week for free. And don't forget your regular dose of new and original songs from Music for Goats. Never be alone on a Wednesday night again, 8 p.m. Eastern and 9:30 for those of you in Newfoundland. Join the Whiskey Wednesday regulars on Facebook to be a part of the conversation, or watch on YouTube as well. Pour a drink, a cup of tea, or a nice cold long tooth. Roll up your best smoke and sit back and relax. Don't forget to hit the share button to help spread the word. The Whiskey Wednesday Show, every week. Cheers. Here we go. That's interesting. Barry, you can unplug that from the, not from the back, yeah, from that side. Got a new little monitor in here tonight, so just got to hear the intro of the show. That was interesting. That's the first time I've heard that. I mean, since I did it, right? You guys can hear things too. That's real neat. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the Whiskey Wednesday Show. My name is Ken Tizzard, and we are Music for Goats. 2/3 of Music for Goats if we lived in a 3/4 world divided by 7, which means that there are actually 4 of us in the band. But Steve is out. Steve's on to a new part of his journey tonight. He is in Toronto. Today is Wednesday, so he's had 3 full days of radiation.
Yeah.
And by full days, I think he said that they're like 10-minute sessions. But he's got to be in Toronto. He doesn't live there. It's too far to drive in and out. So he's staying in Toronto while he's going through his radiation. Chemo's complete. Radiation is on the way. He seems pretty happy with it so far. And we miss him greatly and appreciate all of the support and love that you all out there send out to Steve and his family getting through all this. They had a GoFundMe running a while back. I'm sure it's still around. Did so well. What a great show of support for the community and for Kim and Steve and the girls and everybody else. And Charlie is, how's Charlie's legs? What's the story there, Neil? Have you heard?
Yeah, I guess he came down in a huge amount of pain on Monday morning. They got him over to the vets, and there was concern that he might have perhaps fractured his shoulder or something of the sort. But anyway, no fractures. There's some concern that he may have arthritis in one of his limbs, but hopefully not. So they put him on painkillers, and as of yesterday morning, he was getting up and going to the door and wagging his tail at people. So that's a great improvement.
If he does have arthritis in one of his limbs, let's hope it's the limb that he left over in Africa.
Well, I don't, Jamaica, but close.
Jamaica?
Yes.
No, it wasn't Jamaica.
Jesus, Murphy. Yes, it was. Because remember, I was the one that said it was Mexico, and then it turned out that I had to, follow my sword and admit that I was wrong because it was Jamaica.
I think you're right. It was a Rastafarian 3-legged dog.
Something like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to be here. It's another Wednesday. I am so happy to be here. I've been in a real crappy mood. My mental health.
He has.
Yeah,
that's true.
I apologize to everybody around me. It's just sometimes I boil over, and it's been boiling for a while. Here's a song about Canadian bowling, written by the Weaker Thans. Send this out to Tim and Diane tonight, and all the folk at Hills Concrete.
Yeah.
And the whole gang who bowls on the ice with him on Wednesday nights. That's where they are tonight. This one's for Tim and Chargy. It's called Tournament of Hearts. It goes like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now the lounge is full of farmers for the 7:30 draw. Teammates all left before they had to buy a round. When they pull the 50-50 and I lose again, I'll go. Maybe have one more brown one for the snowy road. And the championship banners going yellow on the wall. Add my name when it gets closer to last call. And a vine that brings my mind, hold it up in the net. The figures of 2
why I'm not at home. When you wait beside a silent telephone, doodle circles within circles all alone. Have to stop myself from standing on a table full of empties to yell, why can't I draw right up to where I wanna stay? Why can't I ever stop where I wanna stay? Drift right through our days, I'm always throwing halfway. Never, 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 right off. No, 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 never, and the championship winners circa 1963, all staring, glaring disapprovingly from the frame in that old photograph of me. And I know you're out there waiting for an answer I can't give, so tell me why. Why can't I draw right up to what I wanna say? Why can't I ever stop where I wanna stay? Roar right through our years, drift right through our months, slide right through our weeks. I'm always throwing halfway. Never, 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 right off. No, never, 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 right off. No, never, 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 right off. No, never, 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 never. It's cool. Hey, Mr. Grant, how are you doing? I didn't even see you come in tonight.
I know. Here I am.
Such a weird thing. I tell you, like, every now and again, my mind breaks or stops working the way I like it, the way, and it makes it hard for me to get through the day. And it's been a few of those days. I think I'm going on day 3 or 4 of it. And it's amazing. I get into these zones where I'm totally oblivious to the world and the people around me and what people are saying and what I'm saying back to them. And it just seems like a dream, you know. It's pretty weird. And even like this, like all of a sudden I'm sitting with you here. It's just like, how did this happen? I don't remember you coming in. I don't remember having a conversation with you today, although I'm sure we have. You have a beer, so I went downstairs and got you a beer and a glass.
Yes,
so I
yes,
assumed
indeed.
I asked you if you wanted a beer. But like I'm really just, I've been so out of touch with reality.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I know. It's catching.
I was thinking the same thing on the way over here. I was like, oh, where is it? Where is it I'm going? Who am I?
Where's my house keys?
What do I need? Yeah. Why is everything missing? I don't know.
Always everything missing, and why don't I need anything?
Anyway, we're here, right?
I know,
Yeah,
and
that's
suddenly
right.
we're
We're
here.
playing music. I mean,
Huzzah. Yep.
it sounded all right.
It does, yes, indeed. Well, before I
I
forget,
quite enjoyed that.
I have to wish my granddaughter Clara a happy birthday. She turned 12 today.
Yes, I saw the dinner pictures. Looks like she's having fun.
She
Happy
was
birthday,
she had a
Clara.
great day, I guess. Yes, I was down there for a little while this morning, and also I should wish her grandmother Sandra a happy birthday. She is not 12.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
But she and her fellow Brian are regular listeners, so
Oh, cool. Well,
happy early birthday, Sandra.
happy birthday to everybody. The next song on the list, actually, we'll dedicate to the birthday gals. This is a song about heartbreak. Sort of. Sean's in the house.
All right.
Cool. It's 10 after, Sean. We're a little bit early, but this is exciting. Oh my God, Sean is in the house. I'm so excited. Sean Panting, we'll bring him on right after this because I'm excited to get to him. And he's an old friend of mine from Newfoundland. We're going to get into all of it, but
But Sean's a great entertainer, and I hope he's got his acoustic guitar so we can play a few tunes for us. Sean, if you can hear me, give Barry a thumbs up if you're ready, and we'll play one more song, and then we'll get back to what we're excited about tonight. Mr. Sean Panting from St. John's, Newfoundland. Although I got to ask Sean about his whereabouts before I met him, because I seem to remember Sean moving into my neighborhood before the high school gang kind of solidified, and I think he was like one of the people down the road that used to play hockey with us and sort of have snowball fights and stuff. I gotta put some connections on that story, and also talk about one of my first bands that I ever played with Sean. I think we were called Cult of Reason, if I'm correct. That might be something else. I was singing Cult of Personality, but that's a song by Living Colour. I think I'm getting mixed up there by Vernon Reed's beautiful guitar playing. So Sean, in your honor, Sean is one of my favorite songwriters, and Sean has absolutely mastered the art of distortion with beautiful guitars and stuff. I always keep things clean, but tonight we're featuring, and I'll put up a picture of this here when I cut it later, the Invader Distortion. This is one of these Maestro pedals. This is the last one I'm going to be looking at. And I put this one last because I thought that over the month that I was showing the chorus and the delay and all this other stuff, that I'd come up with a reason to use a distortion pedal. And the reality is I don't really have a use for it. But I thought maybe I can try a tune where I just put it on, and let's just see what this pedal would do for something like me. Now I've dialed in a tone that, as you see when I strum, it doesn't get too much louder, but there's a little bit of dirt on it. It's actually a cool dirt. I mean, for bar chords and stuff, it's great. It's kind of nice. Anyways, here's an old song. We're going to play it tonight, dedicated to the birthday ladies, Clara and Sandra. Sally? Sandra?
Sandra.
Got it right. Excellent. It's an old song called Take a Chance. It goes like this. Take a moment, take a chance. Learn to fly, learn to dance. I don't know. Get yourself away from here. Better place to face your fears. I don't know. At times I have felt it like a storm. At times I have felt it like a storm. You're the only one. You're the only one. You're the only one who doesn't remind me of her. Open up and look around, try and tell me what you find. I don't know. You pushed aside into his space, you've gone, you've fallen in his face all over me. At times I have felt it like a storm. At times I have felt it like a storm. You're the only one. You're the only one. You're the only one who doesn't remind me of her. Take a moment, take a chance, find yourself a new romance. I don't know. There's too much of you in here. He's gonna break, he's gonna tear all over us. At times I have felt it like a storm. At times I have felt it like a storm.
There you go.
And that's one of the things that this Invader Distortion does. You can crank the gain and get it to sound like real dirty. You can get all kinds of cool tones out of it. It's got a gate on it too. I know some of you sort of metal players who really like to crank up your live sound and keep things really tight. And when you're playing that real tight sort of staccato, fast stuff, and there's those big breaks. If you've got your amp cranked, you'll play a chord, and between the chord there'll be feedback. We'll sort of jump in, right? So you can set a gate on this so that after it locks down pretty hard, but it'll take all that feedback out for you too. So it's a great little pedal. They've thought of everything, and again, it's got the coolest looking thing on it. That's the Invader Distortion. I'll put some pictures up of it so you can see it all clearly there, and that's what that all sounds like. Okay, we do have Sean. Just before I bring Sean in, I just want to just sort of see who's here. Charmaine is here. Kim is here. Joe is here. Jason. Mike Arnold. Nice to see you, Mike. Nice to see you very much. Joe Murray says, I just picked up the Behringer Tube Amp Simulator TV. Nice turbo. Man, so many of these tube simulators are doing amazing things these days. There's lots of arguments over tape saturation, tube saturation, and the digital world. And the reality is the digital world is knocking it out of the park. But that being said, I am going to bring on old friend. By old, Sean is younger than me, but we'll bring Sean in. There'll be a moment of confusion here, Sean, where we do all these technical things where we unplug one thing and plug something else in. So I'm just going to keep talking through all this until Barry gives me the go-ahead. I'm also going to open up my computer so I can see what you look like on this wonderful evening.
Spoiler alert, I'm ravishing.
Don't hear or see anything there yet. How are we doing there, Barry? Barry's looking for the cord. Okay, now he's plugging that in. I'm here as host. This is so much fun. You'd think we'd have a little video thing that we could play during this transition, seeing as how I've got them to do everything except for, there we go. Okay, joining room. I see myself.
Oh my God, I see Sean. And hold on, I got to turn off some of this.
Hold on, I turn this one off. And there you go. Can you hear me, Sean?
I can indeed.
I know I can hear you. Oh my goodness, what a treat. Now, can you see me?
I can see you. There's a pretty significant delay, so I'm going to do my best not to listen to me.
Yes, we're working on that. That's the last thing we've got to get figured out here. Hey, Barry, I think I'm like really close up on one of these cameras here. Oh, I see. So you're just, okay, you're figuring that out. Sean, we're going to get into looking at my chest and talking about you, brother. How you doing?
All right. Every man's dream.
Hold on, I'm just looking for you, Sean. Jesus, we're all out of sorts here tonight. You okay over there, Barry? Okay, well, don't worry about that. Sean, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. I can hear you too. Let's get on with it. I'm just going to not look at you. I'm going to sit here and sit back and look at the wall and talk to my buddy. How you been, buddy? What's going on back home?
Oh man, things things around here are pretty good. Starting to open back up again. Newfoundland did all right, for all of the closures and whatnot. I mean, we certainly did do all that, but stuff is starting to feel fairly normal again. I started in November. I started as the ED at the Newfoundland Labrador Folk Festival. So
I just read that today.
we're having a folk festival in person in July.
Yes.
And it's like that was totally impossible, obviously, last year. So progress.
And I saw the lineup today, and I have to say congratulations on so many levels. I don't want I don't want to get into all the conversations about why you need congratulations on that, but I'm sure running organizations like that have certain things that are mandated. You guys have done an amazing job putting together a lineup this year on so many levels. It's just great.
Yeah, we got our artistic director, Mary Beth Waldron, is a bit of a ninja, right? So it really pays to have. I mean, the organization's been around for decades, and they got a way of doing things. So it made my job a lot easier, and it definitely makes me look good. So I'm all in favor of anything that does that.
Well, yeah, and how much of your time does this take up outside of being an actor, stage and film, and a musician and a husband and a father and a human being and all these other things? Is politics still in your life as well?
I haven't run in a few years, but yeah, I'm certainly an interested party there. I do some musical political commentary on the CBC every election cycle,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, and I'll get back around to it.
Get back around to politics as in like you're going to run for something big, or you're just down?
Yeah, I would imagine there will come a time when I want to go back at it. To be honest with you, the best thing about running in the provincial election, when I did that in whatever that was, 2015, 16, the best thing about that was knocking on everybody's door and having all these conversations. It was ridiculous. People are fascinating.
Well, yeah. I mean, as a songwriter, you've been preaching that for as long as I've known you. But it's I haven't thought about the political value of going door to door and shaking hands with everybody. I mean, that's kind of how Newfoundlanders did it growing up. I don't know if it's still like it so much back there anymore, but there was always an element of finding a friend and walking somewhere else and finding somebody else and walking somewhere else and knocking on another door and finding somebody else. And I don't know, maybe it was just the downtown community felt like that.
Yeah, it's Newfoundland's changed just like everywhere else, and in St. John's St. John's a little harder than it used to be in some ways, but sort of the basic the basic idea, the basic social constructs and everything are still in full effect. Like pre-COVID, when we had that Stormageddon thing and people were in their houses and we had a record snowfall and all of that. It was really beautiful to see because we were kind of our best selves then. Everybody helped their neighbors and did all the stuff that everybody says Newfoundlanders actually do. We actually did it, so it was nice to watch. Right, it was nice to watch us be good people. I like that.
Well, it's funny to hear you say that because my sister happened to be home when that happened. She got snowed in, and she ended up spending a couple weeks back home. And from talking to her and a few other people back home, and I had some friends of mine send me some pictures like out their front yard where there should be roads and streets, and there was just nothing but snow until the next house, over the hill. And as much as it was terrible what was going on, it was a real crappy thing to live through. I was kind of envious that I wasn't back home because I was saying, what a time it would be to be back home, to see the town without the roads and the infrastructure, and also be a part of I know how Newfoundlanders, get together to do things. To be a part of that I thought it would have been a really great community experience. So I didn't get home for it because I couldn't get in, but yeah.
I mean, people riding skidoos up the road and stuff was good.
Yeah, I saw him snowboarding downtown too. That was pretty great down by your brother's house and stuff on some of those big old hills. You got your guitar there? You gonna play a couple songs for us tonight, Sean, or what? You got songs picked out, or?
I surely will.
You surely will. You got them picked out?
You just say the word.
Well, I was thinking I'd love to hear Man of the Year if you're up for playing it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that.
And then I'd like to chat with you more and tell some more people about, what you are, who you are, and what you do, and also just catch up a bit. That's kind of what this is. This started as like a phone call that I made to a friend during the show, and I thought, well, I'm going to start calling friends up, and then I thought, well, let's turn it into something where we can do something. So now here you are from Newfoundland playing songs, and you're still left-handed, eh?
Looks like it.
Still left-handed. Yeah, I haven't been cured yet.
Okay. Take it away, Sean.
So I'll just so this is great. This is a tune called Man of the Year by special request from Ken Tizzard. It's not the night for going out, whistling past the murder house on my march of days till this whole town plays. Outside myself, I stand appalled. I drop them at your hopes, light up like paper dolls. As one goes, so do all. The more you want can do. It only takes this thought to be true. You've been led on. We knew this all along. Love me now, or leave me. As the hush fell, you hit the swinging bells. Drown me out, release me. I am the ear, you are the sound, voice of the fear I drag around. I have made you this, my love, my cowardice. Day after day we wish for this, stumbling out of the abyss, blinking in the sun, the all-time number one. The more you want, the less I can do. It only takes this thought to be true. You've been led on. We knew this all along. Love me now, or leave me. As the hush fell, you hit the swinging bells. Drown me out, release me. Love me now, or leave me. When I say I'm sick and tired of waiting, I'm not sick of you. I'm sick of this dance we do, where every future looms unsteady and unclear. I'm the sum of my fears. I'm the man of the year. I'm the man of the year. And you've been led on. We knew this all along. Love me now, or leave me. As the hush fell, you hit the swinging bells. Drown me out, release me. Love me now, or leave me. Drown me out, release me.
Sean Panting. That
There
sounds
you go.
great, brother.
Oh, thanks, man. I will say that there is a huge delay, so if I seem a little wonky,
I'm
there's
experiencing
an
it
image
too.
of
I'm
me
not sure what's
moving.
I'm experiencing it too. We're working on some technical stuff on this end, where I'm actually looking to move into a physical switcher and some production stuff as opposed to all this online stuff. Because depending on the Wi-Fi signal, where you are and when I am, it's a totally different world. So,
Well, it's a fair distance, I hear.
I hear it's a fair distance, and we shouldn't really complain about that. It's amazing that we can do this stuff through the air as it is. But I'm working on it. We're just the guest portion of the show is the newest thing, so we've got some development to do there. And in the meantime, we plod on guerrilla style as I've been doing my whole life. Sean, I got to remember. Were you living down up from Pippi Park, like before high school started? You and your family moved in that area, right?
I always lived there. I always lived on Larkall Street up by the Avalon Mall in a we were kind of alone, my family, in a sea of Pentecostals up by the Eugene Vader's Pentecostal Academy. It was a sea of Pentecostals and my family. So my dad was both not from Newfoundland. He was from Winnipeg. He was a history professor, leader of the NDP, probably a communist as far as everyone was concerned. My brothers before Dave got into playing folk music with Figgy Duff, he was playing Black Sabbath tunes and whatnot,
Yeah.
with the garage door open. So we were kind of evil incarnate. And I lived there my entire, formative years. The best thing that ever happened to me was in 1979 or 8. I can't remember which exactly, but I was in grade 3, and Andrew and Jeff Younghusband moved in, like, down at the other end of the road,
That's right.
and all of a sudden there was this sea of Pentecostals, and Ben Younghusband, their dad, he was a chemist, and they had the didgeridoos and stuff because they'd come from Australia, and they were, freaky and probably communists as well. And so that really that changed that neighborhood for good. That neighborhood got a lot less strange for us.
So when did we start? Like, it was high school when I met Hub when he moved to town, of course. Andrew and Jeff both.
Yeah.
I seem to remember you from before that.
Yeah, that's very possible. I got a lousy memory too.
Yeah, I've been my recollections get thinner and thinner as the years go by through. But yeah, I was just trying to remember.
They
sort of
surely
where
do.
it was
We
me and
might have
you
had a game
met.
of street hockey at one point.
It could have been. I mean, we were all just sort of living on the streets those days, Has that changed? Your
Yeah.
kids living on the streets the way we did?
Absolutely not. No, they really, really don't. And COVID's been strange for them, not to make everything about COVID all the time.
know,
Kind
yeah, I
of
get
sick
it.
of talking about it like everybody else. But, that's kept them in the house. But even before that, it was like my kids are, and I'm astonished to be saying this, 16 and nearly 15. We had them like back to back,
Right.
But yeah, like, it's just different. Like, the way they do the way they do everything is different in that way. Like, they're not as wild. And I think about when we were in high school
Hmm.
and I started playing music, like, so I would play until whenever the bar closed, and then I would get my guitar case and stroll home out of it most of the time. Like,
Yep.
walk through the dark from downtown to the Avalon Mall
Yeah.
with a guitar that was, worth, certainly worth selling if somebody decided to steal it off me. And it never occurred to me or to my parents that I was in any kind of danger at all or anything like that. And I would never send, I wouldn't send a 16-year-old kid out playing in bars now. It's just not how it would be done, right?
Yeah. It's I've been talking with lots of Newfoundlanders recently. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just the age thing, lots of recollection, and we all sort of have that story of we would never. You couldn't get away with that now. I don't know how we did it back then, but we did.
We did. And I never owned, like, I realized that I was having a conversation with somebody. I never owned a key to my parents' house.
Yeah. I
Right.
know that wasn't something
So our door had never been locked,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool when you think about it. Also kind of stunned, but I mean, I don't know what we had that was worth stealing.
Well,
A few
yeah,
Black
I guess-
Sabbath albums, I guess.
I guess there's that. So I left Newfoundland, when to pursue a career in music, because I'd kind of, just wanted to. I wanted to be a musician. I didn't know how to be a musician, and everybody said there's lots of musicians in Toronto, and of course we all wanted to go dip our toe into Toronto, so I did. And I for whatever reason, I didn't make it back home. You've been there the whole time, haven't you? Did you go away? For
I
a
have,
while?
yeah.
You've been there, and you've
No.
carved out. I was just gonna say you've carved out a life in the arts in so many ways. I mean, how did that all happen for you? What a weird flow when I was sort of thinking about you recently and sort of what you've been through.
Yeah, I had the chance. I had a kind of a golden opportunity in a way, in that I was able to go out, and play and see the rest of the country and do all of that stuff, and then go back home to St. John's. And there were several points when with bands where we had that discussion. We had the Halifax discussion,
Yeah.
which was it's kind of like the mini Toronto discussion, right? But at least you're on the mainland and all that stuff. And we never pulled the trigger on that. Drive band that I was in the 90s, we nearly went to Ontario and then kind of didn't, and then it fizzled. But the thing, everything that sort of happened subsequently for me in the arts, as a musician and as an actor and as a writer and all the other stuff, I don't know if it could have happened anywhere else, because the thing about the scene in Newfoundland is, you have to do a number of things to make ends meet. You have to do a whole bunch of disciplines to make ends meet, and you are allowed to do that.
Yeah.
A few years ago, when I was working more in TV and film as an actor, I would talk to agents, and I would get some work. But the thing that always upset or disturbed or unsettled the agents in Toronto was they didn't know what I was. And they sort of felt like I was a dabbler, So it's like, are you a TV and film actor? Well, yes, I am, but I am a musician as well. So, yeah, well, okay, you play music sometimes. Well, yeah, and then there are times when I write songs, and sometimes I write songs with and for other people. And I'm a writer too, I guess. So I write stuff, and that always sort of bothered them. But in Newfoundland, that's kind of the way it was done. And for you and me, we had that generation that came up in St. John's in the 70s.
Yep.
That we were exposed to, and those people were friggin' they were the big influences. Like, I wasn't looking to New York and London and or even Toronto. Like, all of my big heroes artistically are from Newfoundland.
Isn't that incredible?
And that was Lois Brown, who was our theater teacher. I think was the one responsible for so many people going into the arts, and I don't know if she deserves an award or what, but she should take full credit for nearly everything everyone did subsequently, right?
Yep. Yeah, the Lois thing comes up a lot when I'm talking to people from back home. It's quite funny. It's not actually funny. It's quite friggin' amazing the impact she had on that specific group in the few years that she taught. Was just,
yeah, I don't even know if she taught more than 2 years.
I think it was only 2, with us anyways.
Yeah.
I know with me it was, no, it was 10 and 11 or 11 and 12. I can't even remember. We didn't have grade 13, did we?
No, we didn't.
No, my sister had grade 13,
No.
I think.
It came up last night, funnily enough, because this is a really interesting blast from the past here tonight, because last night what I did was, Andrew Younghusband and his partner Kate Domina came by the house, and we ate some cheese and crackers, and then we went up to the Arts and Culture Center and watched Rick Mercer in a Just for Laughs show. So it was this huge high school reunion blast from the past moment, which was really cool. And like you say, when Andrew and I interact in any way, Lois's name comes up. Is within 5 minutes, Lois comes up.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, it's I don't know. She's one of those people. She touched so many of us in such a way. It's just I don't know. It still amazes me that that's what comes up when I speak to people from this group. And how many of us not just tell the story, but also credit her for the inspiration or the drive. Like that's huge.
Well, I think the biggest lesson that she taught me personally, the biggest takeaway for me, was she said something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, but she said, there's no difference between a part-time actor and a full-time actor. There's no difference. If you're an artist, you're an artist. That's whatever. And the best way to get better at what you're doing is just to go and do a show. So let's all go down to the hall and book the hall and do a show. And she just encouraged us to jump in head first and to not be intimidated by people who'd been doing it for longer than us, and kind of just allowed us to just to get out there in front of audiences and fail and make mistakes and look stupid and do all of this stuff. But it was a huge education to
Massive.
go out and bomb in front of. I did a bit of that too, right? To go out
We
and
did a lot of
bomb
that.
in front of an audience. It's like, oh, right, the audience. We should probably be thinking about those guys occasionally, you know?
It wasn't something that was on our mind, though. We were being encouraged to create, and I mean, I remember
Yeah.
being in several projects with you, theatrical / musical projects, and other stuff that was happening. And I remember there was stuff like we used to do at the hall. We'd rent the downstairs room for a night and have like 30 or 40 people come in, and we'd put off these things that, you know, I remember being at John Whalen's like one night before the opening show, and we're still putting stuff together, like writing the ends of skits and stuff, and then we'd go on stage and kind of do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't about being good or being bad or being judged. It was about doing it. And you know, there was Lois and the entire group that came with Lois, which was also a bunch of the people that we had idolized as kids, you know, the Tommy Sextons and Greg Malones and, you know, and the
Andy
30
Jones.
other people like that.
Yeah.
And it was just a brilliant time. I mean, it's just amazing. What an
Yeah,
interesting
truly.
thing.
And musically too, like I think about this often. Musically, you know, I had all the regular sort of international influences, you know, and you know, my parents were Beatles fans, and I listened to a lot of Beatles albums, and I listened to a lot of folk albums, and I had a raging Rush period that continues to this day, and all of that stuff. And then I discovered the Ramones, and that blew my face off, and then Husker Du and Dag Nasty and all this stuff. But the really big influence, as far as especially punk rock influence, was Dog Meat Barbecue
Oh, yeah.
from St. John's, Newfoundland, you know, with Wallace Hammond playing guitar. So when these Guitar Hero lists come up and people say, you know, they're top 5 guitarists, you know, I gotta say top 3 is a guy that nobody anywhere other than St. John's has really heard of. But you know, when with the Slime, they did a triple album in 1978.
Yeah.
You know, that's punk pioneer shit happening right there. And when I remember seeing Dog Meat for the first time when I was 15 years old, and I just couldn't get over it, because these are dudes that are like playing songs that are about the town that I live in, and some of them are funny and some of them aren't, and they absolutely do not care about what they're supposed to be doing. That was huge for me.
Yeah.
So that more than anything else encouraged me just to write whatever the hell songs I wanted about whatever subjects I felt like writing songs about.
Well, I think we share a commonality in the fact that, you know, some of our musical heroes were local. You know,
Yeah.
Ron being, of course, one of everybody's heroes. You know, as is Wallace.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, having access to these people in our lives, you know, it'd be like, you know, for some people, like sort of having Springsteen living down the road. You know, it's just an idol is an idol. You know, so you get to love these people, and
Well,
it's great to see them as human beings too. You know.
Well, it's funny. I played for several years with a fella from Toronto. I didn't realize that anybody was actually from Toronto. I thought people just moved there. I didn't realize people were born there, but he was. Don Bull, bass player, born and raised in Toronto. And he came to Newfoundland and had never heard of Ron Hines. And he went to the Rose and Thistle and he saw Ron Hines. And I ran into him and he goes, "Have you ever heard of Ron Hines?" And his head was exploded. He couldn't get over it. He's like, "I watched 3 sets of songs, and everything back to back to back to back to back was pure genius. This guy's a friggin' genius. What is up with this guy?" Anyway, so, you know, and we talked about Ron Hines. And at that point as well, I'd kind of discovered Ron Sexsmith, who I eventually got to play with a couple of times, which was really fun. And to me, Ron Sexsmith taps into this well of melodies. I don't know where it's like he's got the deepest well of melodies this side of Paul McCartney. And I love his stuff, and I just think he's so great. And I'm raving about Ron Sexsmith, to Don. And Don had, like me with Ron Hines, where any night of the week I go and see Ron. It's like, oh yeah, Ron's just there.
Yeah.
The wonderment had kind of worn off. And I was talking about Ron Sexsmith, and Don Bull's like, yeah, Sexsmith. So he had forgotten that his local guy was also a genius. It's easy to do.
Oh yeah.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
Well, sure does. Sure does.
And I think there's a thing. I think there's a thing too in Newfoundland. I am. There's a thing in Newfoundland where we don't have a star culture at all, and in fact we have an anti-star culture. Like, nobody wants to admit that they're impressed with the people they're impressed with.
Yes.
I notice people do this with Alan Doyle all the time, where it's like, I did all right. Oh, this is okay. But I mean, you got to give the guy props. He had a really great career. He earned it. It's okay. It's okay for him to be proud of it. Yeah,
yes, that is a. I had a hard time when I first left. The first few years that I left Newfoundland, because it didn't take much, but it just took a few people saying, just words like, "How did you abandon us?" And like when I go home at Christmas, the first few years I was away, people just sort of saying, "Oh, you're selling out and moving to Toronto." And I was like, "No, I'm trying to make a career, and I don't know if I can do it from here." And that only happened a few times the first few years I was gone, but it still sticks with me. I had somebody a few years back tell me that they actually said, "Sure, you don't even live in Newfoundland. Why do you want to be a Newfoundlander?" And I thought that hurt. That was a weird thing. But that feeling of the not wanting to admit success and all that stuff, and sort of keep people calm. And I mean, that's one of the things that makes Newfoundland beautiful too. I mean, you can go back there and you can be anybody. I mean, it's an extension of Canadian fan. Like, we don't have the fan culture that they have in the States, where if you're a celebrity, you need to walk with security guards, and sort of you're fighting off people looking for autographs all the time. Canadian fan culture is a little different than that, but I feel like Newfoundland is even a further extension, where Alan Doyle is just one of the buys, and we're all just one of the buys when we're back home. And it's, I think it's pretty groovy. I don't know. I'm proud to be from Newfoundland. I love that sort of relaxed nature that we all have back there. It's a very interesting thing. It's a very interesting thing. But it's cool that you've stayed back there the whole time. Like, have you? Do you think it was more difficult to carve out all these little niches as opposed to going somewhere where there was an established industry? Like, back home, you're saying you've been doing film work and writing work and theater work. Like, these are all little tiny industries we're talking back home. Like, I don't know. I mean, is it still like NIFCO and the LSPU Hall and sort of small little subcultures of industry, or has it turned into like more like a Toronto scene back home where there's actual agencies and production houses and stuff?
Well, the film industry has definitely grown in a huge way here, and due to the efforts of a whole bunch of people, not least of which is Paul Pope, who just died very recently. So where we used to have kind of one functioning crew that could get your film done for you, what we have now is we have several crews working simultaneously on a couple of films and a couple of TV shows, more or less all the time. So that's definitely changed. I feel like the music scene has shifted, but probably in exactly the same way it's shifted everywhere else, where there's not too much of a bar music scene, which is, I mean, sad from my point of view, because that's the environment that I came out of. But there's not a whole big raft of places to play these days in Newfoundland. But I think that's probably happening in a lot of places, right?
I think you're right on that.
And some of the industries are getting a little more professionalized. I do notice that. but yeah, I mean, it is unquestionably on a smaller scale because it's a smaller town, and you have so many you only have so many people living here to consume the entertainment products, right?
Yep. Yeah, no, that's true. How's about another song, buddy?
Yeah,
You
sure,
want to
man.
play? You want to play something?
Yeah,
You can play whatever you want. I just want to mention your last album. The last album was the Simple Machines. These Simple Machines.
the Simple Machines. Yeah.
The Simple Machines. That's great. The delay makes that really uncomfortable when I'm wondering if I've said it right. That was so. That was your last album. I've got to say, Man of the Year. I don't know what it is about that record. It might have just been my time in my life when I first heard the first two tracks off that album. It was like I was listening to one of my favorite albums of all time. So it was like, oh, I know this song, and I hadn't heard either of them. You know, I've been listening to your. I mean, we played together in a band when we were 15. Was it 15
Yeah.
or 16?
Children. Yes.
We were kids.
16.
So
I was
I've
16
known
then.
you through
Yeah.
all of that, and you know I've always been a fan and an admirer as much as you can be a fan and admirer of somebody you've known for a long time. I love what you do,
Yeah.
but for some reason when I put that CD in, those first two tracks, I just went, this is like I just felt like I knew those songs, and then the rest of the album was fantastic as well, and everything I've been listening to is great, but man. Kudos on making such great records over the years. You know, when you've got so much else happening as well. You've done how many records have you put out?
6.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
work, man.
So I did 6 records. And I'm engaged now in making in sort of making the next batch of stuff. But I write. I don't know if it's just because I grew up listening to full records, but I tend to write songs in batches like that.
Yep.
So, you know, you get a batch of about 15 that you pare down to about 10. And I've always kind of written that way, and then it ends up that there's a theme. It's not like, I'm not making Rush 2112 or anything, but I mean there's a general theme. And Man of the Year, that was the middle-aged dad album in a way. It was like, well, it was the onset of middle-aged dad. It was like, oh my God, holy shitballs! I am responsible for all of these things. How did it occur that I am responsible for the lives of these two small people, and that I'm married to someone that is relying on me to do stuff, and I really can't shag it up. I really can't. I can't. For their sake, shag it up. And so that feeling sort of permeates that whole batch of songs, and then when I did the Simple Machines, and I didn't sit down thinking about a theme or anything, it seemed to be a continuation of that. Like I'm fond of pointing out that the first 3 songs on that record, the first one is about crying in a parking lot, and the second one is about a 2006 Sienna minivan, and the third one is about heart palpitations,
Yeah.
like
Sounds
thinking
about
that you're
right.
having a heart attack, right? Like having a paranoid moment in your car, wondering if you're going to have a heart attack or not. It's-
Yeah. Well,
so
that's,
I guess there's bands, I see bands I really admire and bands that I really love, and they're playing the hits from 20 or 25 or more years ago, and the new songs that they write are very much written from the point of view of somebody that's going to be 25 forever, and I'm just not capable of doing that. I'm not going to fool anybody if I try doing that.
yeah.
So just write about whatever's in front of me.
It's a weird thing. Some people have a knack to do that. There's a band that I quite like who, in younger years, used to sing songs and they had lyrics about being in high school and recess and stuff, which always resonated. That was always cool. But now in their 50s, it's sort of the songwriting has to change, and it has. And it's evolved with them, which is cool. But I do know some people it just sort of stays like that.
Yeah,
It's
and
some people
It's not a
want,
great look for everybody.
well, it's not. At the same time, I don't really want to go see AC/DC, you know, break out the acoustics and sit down and play something slow and easy because they're too tired to run around. You know, I want to see AC/DC
That's true.
fucking AC/DC. Yeah, I guess there's all kinds of weird stuff on that. I mean, I can only relate with myself. I know that as a songwriter, my songwriting has changed. It changes with the seasons. You know, it's just whatever's happening in my life, and that's where I've always been through. There was a period of time where I worked with a band and we had a sound, and that was cool too. And you know, I don't know. I'm not doing that anymore for whatever reason. So maybe that says something about it right there. You know, I like the change. I think that you've done a great job of adapting and changing over the years. You know, I love it when I come back home and you come and share a stage with us and we get to hang out, or you know, we just bump into each other on Duckworth Street in the middle of a snowstorm at midnight. You know, as you're getting into your car, for whatever these things are. It's been really cool to watch you. But I'd love to hear another song, Sean. What do you got for us?
Sure. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play something from the Simple Machines. This is a song called "This Minivan." The minivan is a symbol, a symbol of middle-aged dadhood, and a lot of people feel shame about the minivan. A quick story about it. We had a 2006 Sienna minivan that I bought in cash. For a long time, we bought just, you know, whatever car I could afford based on whatever work I had that year. So if I had a good year, if I made a couple of films, we got a good secondhand beater. And if I did less well, then we got a bad secondhand beater. This was one of the good secondhand beater years. So we had a 2004, Sienna minivan, color beige. And I felt a genuine twinge of guilt and sadness when I realized that we weren't going to be able to repair it for the last time. And I went out and I bought my first real car, which was a Volkswagen, a new Volkswagen Jetta, sold to me by Art Haynes from Bung. So this is this minivan. Let word go forth across the land, no mere machine, this minivan. When the list is long and the hours are few, this minivan gets me home to you. Woe be gone, a mortal man, I soldier on as best I can. When the list is long and the hours are few, this minivan gets me home to you. Burn down the fuse, outrunning cars, a vault of blue, a veil of stars. When the list is long and the hours are few, this minivan gets me home to you. The weeds of time are dug in tough, and I have no mind to pull them up. When the list is long and the hours are few, this minivan gets me home to you. Arrangements made, they play along. This sad charade cannot go on. is long and the hours are few, this minivan gets me home to you. When the list is long and the hours are few, this minivan gets me home to you. La da 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 da. La da 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 da.
Well, Sean, that's fantastic. That
Thanks, man.
reminds me of Labrador Motors. That's the same.
Yes.
When you started thinking, I thought, this sounds like Labrador Motors, but I know it's one of the newer ones. So, Sean, I want to thank you for coming by the show. Everybody, Sean Panting, musician from Newfoundland. Look him up on Spotify and all that stuff. I'll put some links out to him after the show. He's an old friend of mine. It's great to see him. He's got great music. Check it out. Sean, you requested. We've been doing the request for the people who are guesting on the show, and you requested a Billy Bragg tune. To which I immediately went, "Oh yeah, great! I've always wanted to play that song." And then I started listening to it and picking apart the arrangement. I went,
Oh, good.
Fuck, this is one of those. So it's a bit of a challenge, but we're excited to give it a whirl for you. So, Sean, we're going to let you go, and we're going to get tuned up here and play a little Billy Bragg for you. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll talk to you. I'll reach out in the next couple of days just for a little sort of personal catch-up, okay?
Oh, thanks, man. It was really fun, and I'm looking forward to the tune. Thanks for learning it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's one of those dead easy ones. Okay, I'm going to sign off here, buddy. I'll see you soon. Cheers.
See ya later on.
Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen.
How's that volume-wise?
So,
Okay.
I think we're good, yeah. So, that was Sean Panting. Barry, how are we doing?
Every camera is failed.
Is anyone working right now?
Just the one on you.
Just the one on all of us?
Just the one on everything. They're all failed.
That's okay. Well, we'll just stick with one camera, Barry.
It's possible we don't just want to look at you.
Why not? I'm the eye candy in the band.
Oh, is it just one camera on Neil? Everything else is failing, right?
Everything else is failing.
Okay, so why don't we just get down to the 3 cameras, take off the big one, because the Wi-Fi is obviously acting up here, and that's what's getting too much going on. So just get one of them working. While you're all looking at Neil's beautiful face, I will tell you about this song that we're going to do. So, Billy Bragg has been a common element in my life since I was a teenager. As you know, we recorded New England for the All Together Now record. But I've always been a fan of this song. And we're going to try it out tonight for Sean Panting. How are we doing there, Barry? We might have that one back? Okay, if we get this one back, then I can point at y'all and say, hey. Hold on, guys.
No? Sorry.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Surely, so exciting to be sleeping here in this new. Surely, you're my reason to get out of bed before noon. Surely, you know when we sat out on the fire, just keep talking. Surely, what did you say about running before we were walking? Sometimes when we're as close as this, it's like we're in a dream. How can you lie?
Surely your sexual politics have left me quite a muddle. Surely we're joining the ideological cuddle. I celebrate my love for you with a pint of beer and a new tattoo. And if you haven't noticed yet, I'm unimpressionable and my cement is wet. Politics are dissipated as we empty our glasses. Oh, how I love those evening classes. Surely you really know how to make a young man angry. Surely can we get through the night without mentioning family? People from your church agree it's not much of a career. Try the handles of our cars. Oops, there goes another year. Oops, there goes another pint of beer. Summer years, living on ice cream and chocolate kisses. Would the leaves fall from the tree if I were your man and you were my missus? Surely, give my greetings to the new brunette. Give my greetings to the new brunette. Give my greetings to the new brunette.
There you go. There's a little song called Shirley for those of you Billy Bragg aficionados who don't know that the name of the song is actually Greetings to the New Brunette, which I didn't know for a long time. I always thought that song was called Shirley. It just seems like that. Barry, this seems like a technological nightmare tonight. Are we doing all right, or what's going on here?
Just trying to get one camera that works for everybody.
Really? That's so weird. Okay, well, you know, folks, we had the renovations started today here in the house, and they've got some new walls put up and some walls put down, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. I wonder if maybe something's after happening here that's making this a little weary-old, but we're gonna muscle through it either way. What do we got on the set list here? Let's play the devil. Let's take a minute and get out of ourselves here. This is a good thing. This is a song that I wrote the day that Phil Dinn died. Phil Dinn was a friend from back home in Newfoundland. And the day that I heard he died, I was thinking about somebody else back home who I'd recently seen and was disappointed to see wasn't doing very well. And I sitting at home thinking about that. And then got the call that Phil Dinn had died, which was sad. I felt the rain and I just got wet. I was sorry that you came and then you left. So I went outside for a smoke, a whiskey and a toke. Felt the rain and I just got wet. Today I tries the road that no man should. I
I chose to walk away from a place that used to be so goddamn good, and I went out searching on my own, trying to find a home, trying to get along the best I could. And I met a big old man out on that road. His face was flat and round, and we shared a heavy load. He was big and rude, surly and mean, and when I told him my story, he replied to me. He said, "What do you mean? What the hell are you running for?" Oh, to be your running too. Oh, to be your running from. So I stayed with that man, he gave me room. And I worked a couple of jobs, I pushed some books. I'd go out shopping in the stores, I'd never want food. I was happy, just me and my room. This went on for a while, and I got so sad. I chose to walk away. I was feeling so damn bad, and I reached out late one night, and I tried to take my life, and I remember the best I'd ever had. Then I woke up in the day, and everything was fine. I couldn't wait to tell the story, just let it all unwind. And I looked around to take stock, but there was no one to go for a walk, sit and have a talk about old times. The devil lives in St. John's, Newfoundland. Some say she's a woman, others say that he's a man. It might be gambling, might be booze, drugs and women and brand new shoes. But the devil lives in St. John's, Newfoundland. In corners in the darkness, you can see him walking. In the corners in the darkness, you can see him walking. In the corners in the darkness, you can see him walking. In the corners in the darkness, you can see him walking. In the corners in the darkness. Well, you can see him walking. There you go, a little song called "The Devil" for you all. It seems like we're having technology issues all around here tonight. There's like this whole thing that of the show here. We're trying to get this going on too. Is I don't have anybody. I'm missing all my people here tonight. Oh, now it says the chat is waiting. There's is anybody out here? That's so weird. I'm not seeing any messages. So I hope you're all okay out there. It says that. Yeah, it says that everything's connected. So I'm just going to continue as it is. We are sort of running blind here tonight. We've had all 5 of our cameras went down. The chat is not going. The conversation was delayed. Yes, this is awesome. This is 2 weeks of technical stuff now, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to play a little song for you right now. We're going to... what are you getting ready for there, Neil?
Whatever you decide that you're going to play,
let's,
I'm doing my best. But
Well, let's do that. Deb was looking for a song here. Okay, Joe, you're still there. Excellent. Deb had requested some Charlie Pride
okay.
for
Now,
Glenn, I believe.
I hate to interrupt him, but did you want to talk about this guitar for 30 seconds? Because I think it's... Or would you want to hold on to it?
You know
for another
something, you're
week?
right. This is the, there is some more gear going back. Yeah, we got some more gear coming in, some more gear going back. That's the Epiphone version of the songwriter?
No, it's the Epiphone version of that guitar, so it's the Epiphone SJ200.
It is an
it's
SJ200.
It's a super
And that's what they call it, the SJ200?
Yeah, they do, as far as I know. This is an $800 guitar, brand new.
Yeah.
It is eminently playable. It's really, really nicely finished.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit of problem as far as intonation is concerned, but for somebody who's looking for a reasonably priced stage guitar, I'm going to say,
Yep.
because in all honesty, the Gibsons are far, far richer
Yeah,
in
you're
terms of
paying
their sound.
a lot more money
You're
for
paying,
the, yeah.
in that case, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
You're
lot
getting
more
into
money.
big money.
Kind of thing.
But for a-
it's a great guitar to
It's
play.
been sounding
It really,
great.
really is. It's a little more trebly, so you
Yeah.
got it. But you know, there's an
EQ on it.
EQ in
change
here,
that.
so you know pull back on the trebles kind of
It's
thing.
got like a
and,
tuner
uh,
built
and
into it
it's-
too. and
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
right? It's got all
no.
that stuff. So it's got a
No.
bunch of the features.
I'm,
It's
I'm,
a great playing guitar. Looks real cool.
It is. I had one of these a number of years ago, and it was a dog. Looked great on one thing or another, but it just had no sparkle to it at all. It was like you went clunk. So this one's not like
got a
that
nice
at all.
sound.
This one's got a nice
And with
sound.
the intonation you were mentioning,
Yep.
again, it's the. I think we're at the rounding up the Gibson month at Long and McQuaid. But any guitar you buy, like if you buy a guitar or any instrument along McQuaid, they'll do a free setup for it. Like
That's
you'll
true.
get a free setup, so
That's
that
right.
will come out with the intonation
Yeah.
sparkling.
Yeah.
And any guitar you buy, for anybody who hasn't bought a guitar before, that's something you need to know because I mean, rarely do you buy a guitar from the shop and take it home and it plays perfectly. You know, they're put together in a factory, they're shipped on boxes, in boxes, on trucks or however they get around the world.
Yeah.
The temperatures change, the wood changes, and you need a little. You need
Yeah,
to be-
this
get
this one
into it.
actually, in terms of tuning, is a bit more stable than the Gibsons. I find it's got a solid wood top, but the sides and back are laminates, so it's not quite as subject to changes in humidity as a result.
Well, that's a good thing. It's always hard to keep those damn acoustics,
It is.
in tune. Okay.
Nice instrument.
Deb requested this. This is a song called Kiss an Angel Goodbye. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whenever we chance to meet some old friends on the street, wonder how does a man get to be this way? I've always got a smiling face, anytime and any place. Every time they ask me why, I just smile and say, you've got to kiss an angel good morning. Let her know you'll think about her when you're gone. Kiss an angel good morning. Love her like a devil when you get back home. Some people they try to guess the secret of our happiness. Some of them never learn. It's a simple thing. The secret that I'm speaking of is a woman and a man in love. And the answer is in this song that I always sing. You've got to kiss an angel good morning. Love her like the devil when you get back home. Kiss an angel good morning. Let her know you'll think about her when you're gone. Kiss an angel good morning. Let her know you'll think about her when you're gone. Kiss an angel good morning. Love her like the devil when you get back home. There you go. Oh my, well, it's getting on to be line 925 there, ladies and gentlemen. While we're in this key, we're going to end with an old traditional Bob Dylan tune called, what's it called? 1,000 miles from
1,000
home.
miles or
That's
something,
what I always
yeah.
write it down on the set list as, but it's got a title. This is the way my brain is working tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for tuning in. Sorry for the technical issues. Barry, sorry that you've had to deal with all this, but you're doing a fine job, apparently, according to what everybody's saying here. Thanks for tuning in once again. Thanks to Sean Panting for being a part of the show. The newsletter comes out the top of next week, first of the month being Saturday, but we'll send the mail out on Monday. Allison's got a great new newsletter worked up this time. Lots of photos and pictures and links to videos. All this, one too many mornings. Thank you, Rod. Lots of cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
Down the street the dogs are barking, and the day is getting dark. As the night comes a-falling, the dogs lose the bark, and the silent night will shadow from the sounds inside my mind. I'm just one too many mornings and 1,000 miles behind. From the crossroads of my doorstep, my eyes start to fade as I cast my head back to the room where my love and I played, and I gaze back to the streets, the sidewalk and the signs. I'm just one too many mornings and 1,000 miles behind.
Mr. Grant, let's hear you speak there, brother. Thank you, Mr. Ken Grant. Thank you for coming out and playing bass with us again tonight.
My pleasure, man.
It's always great to have you out, brother. Neil, thank you for coming out.
My pleasure also. Always nice to play with you guys.
Dapper as always. New crisp shirt.
I know.
Larry, sorry it was such a rough night for you, man, but I hope you had fun and enjoyed your beer.
Things happen, right?
Things happen, man. We're working.
It was okay.
We're working towards making some changes to get these things worked out. This is a good thing we're on. It's time to make some investments. Investments by us and you. June, we got something sneaky coming up. Something sneaky. We're gonna sneak our way. I'm not gonna go there. Yes, Ron, don't forget the tip jar. You're right. Thank you. I love you all. I wish I had more to give tonight. It's just life's a little bit squeezy right now. As always, next week. That nasty third verse. First verse is
It's just something.
down
you
the
gotta
street the
feel,
dogs
isn't
are
it?
barking. And the second verse comes and the second verse goes. From the crossroads of my doorstep. The third verse comes in and the third verse goes.
I think it's something about a weird feeling or something, isn't it?
That's it. It's a weird feeling. It's not a weird feeling. It's actually
Some kind of feeling. I can't remember what. But
It's a restless, hungry feeling
there we go.
that don't mean no one no good. When everything I'm saying, you can say it just as good. And you are right from your side, I'm right from mine. We're both just one too many mornings and 1,000 miles behind.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Thank you to everybody here tonight. Be well out there. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. Be who you are. Thank you, Sean Panting, for coming tonight and hanging out. That was nice to chat. Sorry, I got into chat mode with Sean there. We went on for a ways, but you know, something is Whiskey Wednesday, and I kind of needed that tonight, just chatting with an old friend. So I hope you enjoyed that. We had to cut a few songs from the set, but we'll make it up for you. I'm actually going to keep these guys here now for a few minutes while we're dressed, and I'm going to record a couple songs that we meant to do tonight, but I'm going to make them special videos for you guys because I want them to be good. I love you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Whiskey.
I'll be just like this, but my head, inside of my head will look much different. Take care, everybody. Cheers. So, when Barry says we're clear, let's just take a minute, have a drink.
Once again, thanks for spending another Wednesday with us here at Storyhouse Studios. Thanks to Trainer, Yorkville, and a Longtooth Beverage Company for being a part of the show. We love our time on the Whiskey Wednesday show and appreciate all of your support. Don't forget to hit up the tip jar if you feel so inclined. Never expected, but always appreciated. Tune in every week for more guests, songs, stories, drinks, and gear talk. And don't forget to visit the website, www.kentizzard.com, to sign up for the Whiskey Wednesday wrap-up. Compiled by Allison, this is a monthly overview with highlights, directories of songs, and so much more. Be kind, be helpful, be happy, be safe. See you next week.
The seal on a Jim Beam.